beautiful gente. Welcome to your October 5th Skyscope. Okay, so I have a lot to say for this week. And so I wanted to start off by giving you a visual. So Pluto just stationed direct yesterday. And so Pluto rules Scorpio. So I want to give you a visual tool to see what Pluto kind of represents within the tarot sphere. Okay, so first off, we have Pluto. This is Judgment. This is the actual Pluto tarot card. Judgment, awakening, kind of the disheveling, the transformational parts of life, of change, of everything that we are currently going through. Okay, so this is Pluto's tarot card. Now, as I think I said, Pluto rules Scorpio. So this is Pluto's card. This is Scorpio's card. Scorpio is ruled by the Death card. And so we can see just from these two visuals that whatever Pluto does is going to affect our lives in a transformative space, but also in a kind of death and rebirth and phoenix, kind of snake, kind of transformative medicine and way. And so this is the energy that we've been kind of handed, that's been retrograde, that's been internal since Sunday. So now as Pluto stations forward and direct in Capricorn, and Capricorn is my sun sign, and Capricorn is all about systems and structures and all this systemic shit coming, down. Pluto, death, awakening, is in Capricorn, dismantling all these systems that we thought were so readily and steadily in place, #COVID. And so this is the energy that I want to talk about this week as it relates to your Skyscope. Okay, so on one hand, Pluto just stationed direct. We have all of this happening, right? Okay, so then keep this in mind, Pluto. Okay, so now on October 9th, which is Friday, all of this Pluto energy is going to square, is going to oppose, is going to challenge the Mars energy. Mars is currently in retrograde right now, which means that all the work is going to be internal. Whenever a planet goes into retrograde, it's more of internal versus like outside collective work. Okay, so Mars is doing like this internal and asking us to look at all of our internal power struggles and our relationships to power and how we operate, liberate, embody, encompass, and digest power as it relates to us. And so I want to give you a visual of what Mars in Aries looks like. So Mars is the Tower card, which is probably one of the most feared cards in the tarot because it is unwanted change. It is change that happens to us versus the change and transformation that we call in through our own work, through our own doing. So this is the planet Mars. This is the ruling card for Mars, and Mars is the ruling card over the Tower. So Mars is also the ruling card of Aries, the Emperor. So Mars rules Aries. Mars is currently in Aries and retrograding, meaning it's going backwards, or it looks like it's going backwards. Okay, so this is the Emperor. This is structure, pretty much everything in the warrior in domain of life, very yang energy. So this is Mars, right? So this is Mars. So on Friday, giving you another visual. Okay. On Friday, Mars, all of this, dismantle structure, all this stuff coming down is squaring, i.e. opposing Pluto. So these two things are going to be going at odds with each other, whether it could come out, manifest out in the world, but more than likely something is going to manifest within you. And so when I look at the astrology in relationship to tarot, in relationship to, you know, all these other, you know, tools that I use to, you know, plan and develop my personal, you know, dreams, goals, and spiritual self, I'm looking at how it all connects. And I'm looking at how all of this relates to me personally, because I cannot change what is already set in motion on the outside, but I can change what I set into motion on the inside. And so that's kind of how I use all of that. So another visual, these things right here are going to be squaring each other on the 9th. And just keep in mind that all of this is happening under the sun sign of Libra. It is happening in the sign of justice, of equality, of balance, of finding, you know, equanimity, of finding that center, finding, you know, the place in between extremes, right? Instead of being in the opposite ends of the spectrum, it's trying to find that place of Nepantla, that space of in-betweenness, that space that bridges the heart chakra, you know, bridges the crown and the root. It's finding that space where all things are in an equilibrium. This is happening under this. And so I just wanted to give you a visual, because sometimes, you know, we can talk about these things and we can talk about, you know, the signs and the planets, but until like we get like an actual visual of kind of what these archetypes look like, it's kind of like, I don't know, trying to describe to somebody what sugar or your first morning cup of coffee tastes like. You know, you just can't do that. Or like I used to say, cigarettes after sex, but I don't smoke anymore and I don't condone that, so please don't smoke. But I'm just saying, like, it would be kind of trying to explain to a non-smoker how amazing like a cigarette after sex was. But I digress. Okay, so this is the big energy that I kind of wanted to talk about and kind of put on your radar today, because I think within this scope of everything, my cards are all messed up now. In the scope of all of this are some really important questions that we can ask ourselves. And I wrote them down because I wanted to make sure that I got them right out to you. So the first question that I want you to explore in relationship to Pluto is, what is awakening in you? Okay, what is it that is awakening in you? For me, currently, I'm awakening to my curandera, my ancestral medicine, my magic, my healer self. Like, that is all awakening right now, right? And for me, I can already see, because I'm already feeling it, what is that awakening is being squared, like, with all of this, like, how the fuck am I gonna claim this? How the fuck am I gonna make money? Like, how am I gonna pay my bills by doing this? And oh my God, what are people gonna think? It's like, oh my God, drag queen turned like curandera, even though I've always been like this. So all of these structures and things, my awakening is squaring. So the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what are you awakening to? Your Pluto. The second thing that I want you to, question that I want you to ask yourself is, this is really good, so I'm going to read it because I don't want to botch it up. How can I, oh wait, I'm sorry, I flash forward. Okay, so here, what are the ways of resistance and limiting beliefs that are showing up into your life? So looking at what is awakening in you, and what are the structures that are put into place in the world, what are the systemic, the societal, the cultural things that are in place that that are brushing up against this awakening? Like, is it the way that, you know, was it your religious beliefs that when you were born? Is it coming out? Like, you know, we're also in October, which is coming out month. We're also in, you know, the fall, where we're letting things go. There's so much energy. So what are the, let's say, man-made structures that you are brushing up against in whatever kind of awakening you're due? Because there are so many systems and things in place that are put there to kind of hold us back. So what are those things? This is the Mars and Aries energy that I want you to look at. And so to kind of bring all this all together, I was like, you know, every week I pull a card for myself and for you. And so I was like, okay, with all this like crazy energy, so the question that I asked the cards was, how can we best approach this kind of really transformative time. And I pulled for us my favorite card, well, one of them anyway, the Fool. Starting at 0, the beginner's mind. Basically, all things start with this first step. And so the question that I asked myself this morning and that I'm going to continue asking myself throughout this week is, and now I'm going to pick up my notes because this is the question I didn't want to fuck up, is how can I cultivate a beginner's mind while not losing all the richness of my experiences, the context in which I arrive at 0? And so what that means is how can you stay rooted in what you've gained from, the wisdom, your life wisdom, all of that in the world, what you've experienced. How can you stay rooted in that, but also come to what you're awakening to seeing the limited structures and systems in place with the beginner's mind? How can you reach this state? How can you be in between these two disheveling and polar opposites? How can you be the Nepant Lydia, the bridge to yourself, to the work that you want to do, and to the change that you wish to see in the world? And so that is what I wanted to share with you today. It was really big, so I made lots of notes. So I just want to check them and make sure, because I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to talk about, or this is what the universe and the planets want to talk about. So that's all I have for you today, but I do want to share with you, speaking of awakening and reclaiming, and how can we begin with a beginner's mind, but also carry in all our experiences. I am going to be, wait for it, drum roll, hosting my first ever new moon circle. It's going to be in the new moon in Libra. It is going to be happening October 14th, the day that the moon actually shifts. It's literally 2 minutes after the moon shifts into Libra. I don't know why I'm always saying interchanging Leo and Libra. I need to figure out what that is. Anyway, new moon in Libra. I'm going to be hosting my first circle. I'm really excited about it because I am going to be looking at the new moon in our 3 channels, right? In the Holy Trinity of us, what I call the Holy Trinity of us, our mind, body, and soul. So how can we interact and integrate Libra in all these 3 aspects? And I'm really excited because, like I said, it's my first public new moon circle, and I've got a lot of really great activities planned for us. So I'm going to put the link in below so you can check it out. And regardless of whether you join me or not, I of course will be back here at the beginning of the week to talk, or not this week, but the week of the new moon, to talk about all of it, connecting to all of that, and connecting to all of this, and then connecting and bringing it back to you. So I hope that you found this useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Tell me you like it. Tell me you hate it. Tell me what sucked. Tell me what you want to hear more of. Tell me what you have questions on. Whatever it is, let's have a conversation. But most importantly, have a conversation and dialogue with yourself. Ask yourself these questions. I love you mucho más contigo. I'll see you next week. Bye.